If she had only been ugly, we would still be together.
Got Bret Ernst here today. Give Bret a hand for the love of God.
There we go. Give myself a hand.
I'm so glad you came in, man. I've been wanting to talk to you. I never see you anymore.
Nah, I've been on the road a lot, but I've been in town for a few weeks. I don't leave until May 8th.
Where you going?
Just doing the LA Comedy Club at the Stratosphere.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, Matt.
Matt,
Those
who?
guys over there, they used to be over at the me and you were batting 1,000 today. It used to be across the street.
How you call it?
Planet Hollywood, when it was over at Planet Hollywood, and they moved it over
They
to
had
the
a comedy club
Stratosphere.
there?
Yeah. Yeah, it was
You know,
above the Trader Vic's.
You know what's amazing about Vegas? This is how so fucking different it is. I worked Brad Garrett's comedy club the Super Bowl weekend because we went to a party and stuff, Brad and I, a bunch of people. 2 weeks later, I was at the Tropicana. Nobody gave a fuck.
Mm-mm.
Because Vegas is the only you can't do that in Columbus, Ohio. People live there. Here, not that they don't live it, but I mean,
It's a whole new people
a
there.
whole new crowd. You could get the rodeo or the Comdex or any of that shit.
Yeah, I'm doing the factory in November there. But there is like I think a 3-week rule or something where they don't want you there 3 weeks before or after or something. I don't know.
Oh, I never even heard that.
But whatever. I mean, a lot of things have changed, I'm sure, since the way things are now. You know?
So what's Eliza like?
What do you mean?
I'm kidding.
Oh, why? Because we used to date?
Yeah.
Yeah, she's a good kid, man.
I know. I'm just saying it would be funny. The whole
Yeah.
interview was about her. Did you always know she was funny? What were her influences?
I would be one of them. Yeah.
Did you know she was going to become a comedian?
Yeah, well, she was a comic when we met.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean? And then that's how we met.
You know what she said to me? The funniest thing. She was doing now I'm really talking about her. We're doing a thing. You were on the stage one time, right? You ever on the stage when we do this?
With what? Oh yeah.
Podcast, yeah.
It was me, you, and Jamie. When Jamie was
Okay. When he
was your Ed McMahon.
Well, you know what happened with Jamie? I think he got a little hurt because, first of all, there's nothing like an ignorant racist, right? A guy, people were calling up, and one guy says, "Hey, Dom, you're really funny, but you got to lose a little Mexican."
That's
He's Persian. At least give him that. But she said she was in sweats, and I'll never forget this because it's so like ballsy, but I respected it. She said, she just worked out. I said, "Oh yeah, you're working out good." She goes, "Yeah, I got a great body." Who fucking says that? I love that she said it. I mean,
was she serious or joking?
she was serious.
Really?
Yeah. Does she?
Yeah, she's got nice
All
build
right, that's
on.
enough. It's enough for Liza.
Yeah, I'm married now.
Are you
Talk about
really?
my wife.
Oh, she's
Yeah.
beautiful, your wife.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why you never bring her around. You know,
Been married 3 years. No, she's just, they get over it. We've been together 7. The first year and a half, they get to the clubs and then they hear the same shit over and over again. Meet the same miserable people, sitting back there, getting bumped, and, 20 minutes turns into an hour.
Remember Sophie?
Yeah, of course.
Well, she was like that. She was so funny because she always wanted to come with me. I said, Sophie, space it so you see some different stuff. No, I want to come. I love watching you. Then pretty soon it was like, oh, God.
Yeah, they hate it.
I'm not getting out of the car. I'll be here.
Mm-hmm.
Just let some air in. Did you vote for Trump?
Did I what?
Vote for Trump?
No, I didn't vote at all, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was wondering what a guy like you voted because I know you're very strong. You're political.
But I'm an old school Democrat, though, which doesn't really fall into line with the new Democrats.
What's that mean?
Union, Jersey, lower middle class, white guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think the progressives have hijacked the Democratic Party. It's almost like the progressives are the new religious right.
Right.
You know what I mean? I'm not just talking about, gay right. I mean, anybody that has a sense of decency and a brain should be for gay rights. And we're not even talking about that. I'm talking about the
Why do people give a fuck about that, by the way?
protesting and Coulter and that type of shit that's going on. All of the watch what you say. I mean, we were actually having this conversation here at the factory on Saturday, and we were talking about how, we're a pretty liberal bunch, but we would never think that all the censorship is coming from the left.
Is it?
Yeah, don't say this. What do you think all the political correct movement comes from? It's not the right.
Yeah, you're right.
You know what I mean? If you never think about that.
Well, I remember being in San Francisco and saying to them, I know exactly what you think on every topic. I said, you're not liberals.
Right.
You're conservative under the name of liberal. I said, you are just as conservative and as narrow-minded as the rednecks you think you're better than.
Oh, absolutely. I think they're even worse because the rednecks aren't trying to shut anybody up. They mind their business and they just go vote. I mean, when you look at these riots that are starting these riots and these everywhere, it's like
We're talking about poor losers.
Yeah, look, I wouldn't have been happy with either of the results, to be honest with you.
Me neither.
But you got to lick your wounds and move on. I mean, here's the part that bothers me, Dom, is the fact that it's our intellectuals that are talking stupid. Like if you're going to shine a light on the alt-right, so to speak, that's the extreme of the Republicans, or they try and paint that picture.
Yeah.
Those guys, we know what they are. But I'm finding more intellectuals in the moderate to right-wing zone that are just willing to talk issues.
Yeah.
What bothers me on the Democratic side, it's our intellectuals that are talking stupid. Like the fact that you're bringing up the popular vote, that Hillary, that means you're trying to. That means one, you haven't taken a 5th grade fucking civics class. 2, you don't know shit. Then you're not qualified if you don't know how the government works. Right. Or 3, you're typically trying to divide.
This didn't just happen. They didn't do this after the election.
This happened 1787. We put this in place, and
how fucking smart. Look, he knows dates and everything.
Yeah, I'm fucking. Who do you think you're fucking with? I don't know much, but I do know history. That's like there's one thing that's a passion of mine. I read books in prison.
I know geography.
And yeah, is it really? Is that yours?
More than history.
And but anyways, the point is, we know how the system works. That's I'm seeing those WikiLeaks articles. The emails were disturbing. It was disturbing, and whether Russia hacked them or not, the Democrats still have to answer to those emails. And what they did to Bernie, I was more of a Bernie guy. It was disgusting. The fact that you got caught, you took a primary from somebody.
Yeah.
And then you said, well, they didn't steal it from them, but you took the delegates. I mean, what the fuck does that even mean? And then you have the balls to cry that you lost the electoral vote. So you had a candidate in a primary that was winning by 15 points that you decided to share his delegates because that's your system and claim that's legal. And then all of a sudden, the electoral college that's been in place since 1787, Hillary only won 20 counties. And now you're trying to divide everybody on the popular vote. And now you're
what do you mean? What 20 counties?
She only won 20 counties. If you win 20 counties in America, you've won the popular vote. Out of 1,000 or something. It was ridiculous.
They're called counties?
Counties, yeah. Counties like Ventura, LA.
Oh, she only won 20?
Yeah, something like that. You can look it up. I can Google it right now. It's a small amount compared to how many counties he won. But if you're going to win, all you have to do is focus on 3 or 4 areas in America, you've won the popular vote.
Well, certainly when you win California and New York, you should win the election.
According to everybody, you know. Well, I mean, fuck the rural South. Fuck the middle, right? I mean, it makes no sense. I'm joking. I'm being sarcastic.
I know you are. But they played it wrong. You know, they didn't realize how much power in the numbers of...
Well, I think everybody's acting like it's a game. It's almost as if I said to you, Dom, you're doing comedy wrong because you don't have a hat on and you're not saying this and this. It's not how it works. You either have character or you don't.
Yeah.
My grandfather told me there's 2 types of people in this world, people with character and people with personality, right? People with character, at least you know who the fuck they are. They'll burn some bridges, but people with personality, they placate and they say whatever people want to hear.
Right.
That's what politicians are. If you have somebody with character, of course they're going to say some shit, You're not supposed to be playing the market. You're just supposed to be saying what you stand for and who you are and what you want to do right, I think the whole system's fucked, man. But I'm really disappointed in how the Democrats are carrying themselves, man. I think it's embarrassing. It's almost like they don't even have a platform anymore. Yeah, it's almost like
I thought that the Republicans are going to crumble after this election, and it's just the opposite.
But you're like me. I'm in 35 cities a year, man. Nobody was buying this shit, just like nobody's really watching what they're putting out anymore. Yeah. And they keep doubling down on the behavior. And meanwhile, I mean, do whatever. I remember when. I'm like, do whatever. Keep doing what you're doing, because I make a great living just being on the road with my core base of fans. You know what I mean? And I'm not a I'm not a right winger or a left winger. I actually just go on issues.
It's amazing how powerful it is because Colbert might have been gone if Trump hadn't won.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? He was dying in the water.
But they're all doing the same shit.
Same
It's
fucking
Trump,
joke.
Trump,
Yeah.
Trump. Oh, fuck it. We get it. I mean, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, we get it. The hair and the
All right. Oh, all right. I mean, what's...
I got a Woody Allen joke for you that when you said your grandfather, you probably heard this. Your grandfather, two types of people. Woody Allen said there's two types of people, the horrible and the miserable. Did you ever hear this?
No.
The horrible are like the people like, with the no arms. Oh, fuck,
Look at this
sorry.
guy. His own podcast.
Mike Ciccone. He said the horrible are like people like, in the streets with no arms and legs and blind and crippled and starving. And the rest of us are miserable.
No, the whole thing's going to shit, man. And I wouldn't mind if... I think there's a backlash coming, And what's sad is that, the Democratic Party, our platform is just we're not Trump, but we don't... What do we stand for anymore? Seriously, what's the platform?
Where was Bernie all these years when he was healthy?
Well, he was independent.
Oh.
And he ran as in it. Now he's trying to unite the Democratic Party, but I don't even trust him anymore. You know what I mean? You went and bought you bought a third house. You know?
Right, I heard about that.
You know what I'm saying? And you're tweeting the other day that how much is enough for these billionaires or millionaires, and you've got 3 homes, dude.
Yeah.
You're in the 3% of people. And I'm okay with that. That's the other thing. Just because somebody has more than me doesn't mean that's the reason why I don't have anything. The fuck's I got to do with me?
Yeah.
Nobody's taking from me. The only thing that's happening is we're losing opportunity because our business is fucking all over the place, and people want to try and monitor what you say. This is why the comedians have been on the forefront of everything. I mean, we created this. This business was built on comedy. The whole podcast world is built on stand-ups. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Everything's always been our medium. And it's just always been a person and a mic and ideas. That's why I love stand-up so much.
Do you have a podcast?
Yeah, it's called You're on the List, man. We do really well.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, we're on Stitcher, iTunes, but we broke the top 10 on Stitcher a while back. But we just list things. We don't really keep it heavy.
Hey, speaking of podcasts, I'm in Austin over the weekend, and I do Tony Hinchcliffe's a lot.
Yeah.
Hinchcliffe.
Yeah.
I do his podcast, so we're fucked up today. And we did this one. We're on stage in this place called the Speakeasy, right? So it's me and Jay Okerson and Sal Volcano. Sal from
the
Practical Jokers. Great guy.
You know what's funny is me and Joe Gatto. I went to school with Joe.
Oh, yeah?
The other kid from
He's a good dude, isn't he?
Yeah, nice kid, man. Nice dude. Always been a cool guy.
Yeah. Funny. Did you ever think he'd be like a star?
No, I didn't think that was gonna happen. I didn't.
You never know, man. Then it was Tony and Red Band and Jeremy. Jeremiah Watkins.
Yeah, of course.
He's got the sax. Anyway, long story short, this guy comes on, and we don't know if he's fucked up or real. I thought he was fucked up, but I wasn't sure because he was going, and he stumbled, and so I got like out of there because I could see. You have to watch it on the YouTube. I got out of it because I was afraid he was going to fall on me. Mm-hmm. One story led to another. Boom. Jeremiah said something wise to him. He goes over and fucking pushes him. Like there's a physical confrontation on the stage. It was so fucking. It's like a big thing on YouTube today. But
was it real or fake?
Oh, it was real.
Who's the guy?
His name was Glenn. I think he was high on mushrooms. I guess he was hallucinating all. But I was out with this girl Jenna Marie, friend of mine, and we go to the party later, and the guy's getting thrown out by the cops there. Apparently, he got thrown out of 4 places. You think they'd lock the fucking guy up for the night? Yeah.
You just let him keep getting out.
Yeah.
Dude, the old days, man. I remember cops used to always throw you a beating.
Who?
Cops. I caught a beating once or
Really?
twice. Yeah, absolutely.
I got strangled by a cop once because I called him Sir Sore Throat Pain. There was this article. It was his advertisement about Dracula, and he'd be like, "I am so sore throat pain, blah 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 blah."
Right, with the
Right?
sore throat.
Yeah, sore throat pain. And the guy grabs me, he's fucking starts strangling me. Holy shit, I'm getting fucking strangled by a cop. Those days, you know, you didn't
You always
report
got
it.
to nobody press charges, none of that shit. Just caught a beating, a smack, or whatever, and unless it was something serious.
What'd you get hit for? Being a wise guy?
Yeah, well, I got a couple things I've done stupid, but yeah, I caught 2 times. One time I just got in a fight with I kept going, and then they just hit me, behind the back of the legs with the fucking baton, and just went to stomping.
You're a good fighter, huh?
Nah. I mean, I won't run, so I guess that makes me a good fighter. You'll know you were in a fight, but I've chalked up a lot of L's.
See, your generation is so much tougher than mine. Because we had so many fucking wimpy guys talking about their mother, that kind of shit. It's like you guys are like real men.
Well, I don't think it's more where I grew up. I think it's more different.
But I mean, there's a lot more of you. When I was around, like I have a friend, Steve Scroban. He played football at Yale. I don't know if you know Steve. He was a producer on Everybody Loves Raymond. He's like a regular guy. And like there are some comedians that I would never have hung out with if we weren't working together.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like,
What's Steve? What do you mean by Steve? He's tough?
He's just regular. He's like a regular guy that talks normal and doesn't whine, and yeah, he's pretty tough, but he's not a fighter.
Oh, I get what you're saying.
He's an athlete, you know.
Like I'm not like, I mean, I always say, I say this on stage. I hate doing bits on thing, but I always say, and it's true. I don't know how many fights I've been in my life. I couldn't put a number on it, but I've got at least, I'd say 19 strong losses.
Really?
Like fucking epic. Yeah. I've been, I've caught in some beatings, man. But it is what it is. It's only skin.
It only lasts a little bit too. You know the whole thing. These big fight stories generally they only last for
A minute,
yeah,
not
a
even.
minute.
But I like I said, I grew up with a lot of inner city kids, so we were always.
Where'd you grow
up? Passaic, New Jersey, and then down in Fort Lauderdale, Plantation area.
What's your
I went to high
affiliation with
school.
you?
Huh?
What's your affiliation
South Florida,
with you?
man. I love Miami. My older brother went there.
Yeah.
But I've always been a Canes fan, even as a kid.
Well,
I went to 15 different schools, man. I moved around a lot.
was that were your parents in the? Was your
Nah, it was my mom, like single mom shit. We'd move and then
Jeez.
But I'm saying like I grew up around a lot of kids throw hands, especially down south, man. Those kids are rough, But but it's more, they know how to throw hands.
Well, this guy didn't take this within the spirit it was meant. He was, it's kind of like a roast. You ever see Kill Tony?
Yes, of course. I was on it once or twice.
It's kind of like a roast theme.
Yeah.
You got to be able to joke around. This guy, who are you talking to? Like, the fuck?
But I mean, like, people glamorize fight. Fighting's one of those things that, like, you get worked up and say the minute you throw a punch, within 2 or 3 punches, you're like, oh, fuck, why did I do this?
Yeah.
It hurts. You're out of breath. You feel uncomfortable. You're getting in trouble. It's just, but
I wonder who the toughest comedian is.
Rogan, hands down.
Yeah,
absolutely. That's one guy you just wouldn't want to.
Yeah, Rogan.
But that's the beautiful thing about Joe, though, is he's not a dick. He's not.
No, he's not a bully or any.
No,
he never
man.
uses that.
And it's so funny because you would hear other comics say that about him, but they were just intimidated by him. Just because somebody intimidates you doesn't mean they're intimidating. Like that they're an intimidator, I should say.
When he first came to the Comedy Store, you know what they used to call him? Because him and I got tight. My little ball of anger. There goes Dom and his ball of anger. I don't know. The only thing, Alonzo looks pretty bad.
I don't know if Alonzo could throw, though, but he's a big dude. But yeah, I'm pretty sure he could.
He's built like a pro athlete.
Yeah. But I mean, again, there's looks to deceive. There's a couple kids that are tough, man. But
Eleanor Carrigan.
Eleanor will stab you. I never size anybody up like that. The last thing you want to do is get involved, man. I mean, I've had some.
How often are you going to fight? Let's face it. The older
now,
you get,
once you're over 35, it's embarrassing. I think.
Yeah.
It really is. If you get in a fight, it's embarrassing.
Right.
You don't know how to work your way out of this situation. You got to. I mean, unless you're defending your wife or, your back's against the wall. When I used to work with kids and stuff, I would put their back to a door, then I would open the door, and then I would say, okay, now you have an option. You take that, but then I'd close the door and I'd say, now you fight. So
Oh.
it's the only.
What was this? You were
I
teaching?
taught elementary school, yeah, 3rd and 5th grade.
Oh, I did too. I taught 4th grade.
I taught out in Angeles Mesa out in Watts, South Central area.
No shit.
Yeah. I still hang with those kids too, man. Well, they're all adults now. They're all grown.
Isn't that nice? Wow.
Yeah, they're good. You know, it's me and Steve Simone. Like I that's what I really enjoy. I enjoy.
Why is it got to be so mean spirited, Steve?
I kid, man. But our charity, which I love to promote, it's called we're with regularhero.org. But what we do is we do a lot of blood drives for the Children's Hospital. It's me, Vinny, Fastline, Johnny LaQuasta, and Steve Simone. And I'll tell you, we do shows too. What we do is the way the charity works is we raise money for like mostly for family, whatever people need, but it's just families that need shit.
That's
you
cool.
know? Like we put a hot water heater in. I'm not saying this to pat anybody on the back. It's just I promote it because if you want to donate, you can go to regularhero.org and just know that every cent goes to whoever the fuck we give it to. Like we you know, whoever needs it, we give it to them.
Yeah, that's
they need
cool.
they need bus passes to parking, paying for their parking so they could see their kids, whatever little ends they need. But Bill Burr, Gabriel, Dane Cook, there's been a bunch of people that have helped us, you know, along the way raise some money. So it's been a great thing.
Very good karma, my friend.
Well, I enjoy. That's what we enjoy doing. I enjoy going down there and
It's a funny way to say that because we were talking about Tiffany Haddish,
yeah.
and she's on the verge of something. You can feel it. She's going to break out in a movie, do something. She's got it.
Well, she's got the show now, and she's in
Yeah.
that movie with the girls.
Yeah. But she's like special to me in the sense that I taught her in that comedy camp.
Oh yeah.
I knew her when she was a teenager and very, foster homes. And
Yeah, she
everything.
deserves whatever she gets.
Trying to
that
keep,
girl.
but it's very cool to see that.
She's a very good friend of mine.
She said to me, it was so fucking funny. She says, "Yeah, there was a time when I thought about fucking you." To me, I said, "Tiffany, never." I said, "First of all, you were more like a daughter to me, but also, I'm intimidated by you." I said, "I could just see me taking my pants off and you going, 'You call that a dick?'" So forget.
Well, her act would, if she's anything like she is in her act, that's absolutely what would happen.
Yeah,
she's a cool girl, man.
She really is.
I've known her a long time, and she's been through some shit in life. That's why she can handle it. She can deal with the success.
Have you seen her on stage lately?
Yeah,
Good.
I followed her on Saturday.
Really good, huh?
Yeah, she's great. And
Yeah.
she's put her work in, man. How
Oh,
long is it? She's been at least 10 years. At least longer than that. 15 years, right? Longer than that. Has to be.
Well, yeah, at the very least 10, but longer. Because
I'm going on 20.
What am I? What's 1980?
Shit. You're at damn near 40.
Wow. You think I'd have more material by now?
Yeah, you keep doing the same act.
Hey,
That Reagan material is still killing.
what's up? What's up with Nixon, bro?
Hey, what's going on with Tip O'Neill?
I'll tell you now, the Ed Sullivan Show to me, I said something about how cool it was to perform in the Ed Sullivan Theater, and they thought I said I was on Ed Sullivan. I go, I'm not that fucking old. What was I on? Is it?
But isn't comedy great that like the older that you are, if you stay at it, like you're still in the trenches, the more relevant you still stay relevant.
Well, I appreciate that. I try,
But in general, age doesn't matter. I mean, it really doesn't. If Carlin was still alive, he'd still be relevant. As long as you're staying and keep doing what you love to do, and doing it the right way, it doesn't matter. Age means nothing.
Chris D'Elia said something to me because I never remember being right there. I remember being too young and too thin, and then all of a sudden I was older. I remember that middle ground where people go, "You know what, you're perfect. Stay where you are."
But you said you never wanted to do any of that shit, right? Acting or anything.
No, I've acted a lot.
No, I know you have, but you said you never wanted to do that. Didn't you?
No, I said I never wanted to pay the dues to do that.
Oh, okay.
In the sense I don't want to fucking dance. I couldn't. You know what happened to me, Brett? I was like, I was in Montreal. And it was a big fucking deal there, right? And I come back from Montreal, and like just everything. I had everything I wanted, and my hot girlfriend and everything. I come back here, and I'm reading with some Bull Dyke casting director who's eating a sandwich and like looking. I could see her looking at the paper, like kind of reading the paper while she's reading with me. You know what I mean? And I thought I just can't do both.
Yeah.
I either commit to the acting thing, or I just got to drop it. I can't dance for these motherfuckers anymore.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Well, it's also very difficult making that transition when you write, produce your own.
But I was in plays first.
You know what I mean? But I'm saying you're stand-up. When you're used to being a stand-up,
Oh, yeah. The
it's
freedom.
The freedom's just endless.
Yeah.
You know, and which is why, you know, people used to develop shows around us, is because every comic was unique in
They
some
already
way.
had a character, like Ray Romano. They already had a character in place. It was easier.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we're talking about like some of those writers coming in and stealing from us.
Oh yeah.
Stealing jokes. It's so funny when you see someone in some of the sitcoms.
Well, you know, I was always fascinated with. I mean, I know the business has changed dramatically from when I first started. But see, my generation, I think the only one that's blowing up right now is Sebastian, as far as like stand-up wise.
Oh, stand-up wise,
because
Kevin Hart's certainly blown up.
Yeah, but I think he's above me. Like I'm talking about guys I came in with.
Oh.
I think Kevin was already doing stand-up, if I'm not mistaken. Because if I'm at 20, he might. Yeah, we're around the same. But I didn't come in with him. You know, and just like D'Elia's blowing up, but D'Elia's was doing it less. He was younger than me.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a bunch of people going around, but I'm talking about the guys that I came in with.
Never judge your success, but never let somebody's success diminish you.
Of course,
You know
and one has nothing to do with the other. It's like I said before, when people think that because they have something, because someone else has some, doesn't mean that's not why I don't have it.
Yeah, exactly. I started out when Eddie Murphy started, right? And people would say to me, honest to God, it was so funny. They go, does it bother you that Eddie's getting movies and you're working at Bananas? And first of all, I love Bananas.
Yeah, it's great. Hasbro Kites.
Yeah. But second, I go, why would you think that? I mean, what do you think? Because like if Eddie didn't get 48 hours, I would have.
Yeah, one has nothing to do with the other.
No.
But I was saying is, as far as the timing goes, because I've always been fascinated with, well, you had the 80s, because to me the 70s was really when comedy, and I think we've talked about this before, when comedy was changing, you know, between Pryor and, I mean, just
Carlin went from the suit and tie to the hippie dippy, from the hippie dippy weatherman to the fucking hippie.
That's what I mean. So there was more honesty and truth coming, and then early 80s when you guys started breaking in, there was some of it went to like the skinny tie. You know, where you, because you were telling me you had a shitload of hacks that were taking up fucking. You said if you had what would you say if you had a skinny tie in 10 minutes you could go headline somewhere.
I don't know, but it's funny.
But I'm saying,
I'm
like,
not giving myself credit for it, but it's funny.
Oh, I'm pretty sure that's what you told me that time we were drinking one time, and then when the next generation came was like that was the Dane Cooks and Carlos and Rogan. When they started, it started changing again, and Comedy Central came into play.
Yeah.
When I started, it was the end of the development era and the beginning of the reality era.
Right.
And there's been about 12 years of guys of my age group that the timing wasn't there. And now that the smoke's clearing and now we're back to where it was the reality show shit. Remember that reality show generation where they weren't giving comics anything and it was just all fucking reality. They, now that's like, Burr's, you know, Bill Burr's, you know, Sebastian's, and I think comedy's the best it's ever been now.
Well, see, that's interesting you would say that because I was on a radio show and they asked me, and I think they expected me to say something else. They said, you know, how do you compare today's comics with when you started? And when he said today's comics, he meant around 35, 40 years old. You know what I mean? Like that kind of people have been doing it for a while, but their time is later. And I said, I don't think comedy's ever been stronger. I said I will put Rogan and Bill Burr up against Pryor and
all day,
and anytime,
all day.
But Pryor and Carlin, but they were the ones that were starting it. They give them credit of their time, but it's evolved. You know, I mean,
it's comparable too. I absolutely agree. I'll take Rogan, Louis, and Burr. I think Burr and Rogan are two of my favorites. I'll take the honesty of Joe Diaz. You know, the comedy is just so much more real now. And the sad part is, again, this is just my own observation. I mean, I've only been in the business 20 years, so what the fuck do I know? That the comedy that's being forced now, the safe shit when you come to the main room at the Comedy Store, and it's sold out, and it's fucking Rogan, Burr, Diaz, you're gonna hear the rawest, realest, uncensored, unapologetic. It's like being at a fucking rock show.
Yeah.
Some of the other types of comedians that, are not as, I don't want to say real because they may be true to who they are, but a little less aggressive, so to speak, or more cautious. You feel like you're at a fucking folk show, like a coffee
shop. It's more
shop.
rehearsed in the sense of...
and it's calculated.
Yeah.
It's because you could take a guy like Sebastian, because Sebastian to me is like the Italian Brian Regan. You know what I mean?
That's a good analogy, yeah.
And the brilliance in the everyday, but that's who he is as a person.
I know he is. Just the little things, like we're sitting on a stage one night. Did you ever do that show? It's called Breaking Balls with Dom Irrera. Did you ever do it?
No.
Oh,
I never
if
done
you
your
want to
show.
do it, I'll call you. I do it like once a month, once every 2 months. And Bill Burr loves it because I give bad intros.
Yeah,
You're
it's
allowed
great.
to heckle. I gave Bill an intro, like I said. Here's a guy. I said, look, not my cup of tea, but give him a chance. I said, if you like that kind of like loudmouth Boston bullshit, you're gonna like him. And he comes up, he's shaking, laughing, right? And he calls me up that night. He goes, I was laughing so hard. He goes, I love the bad intros. He said, it's beautiful. I said, you think that's beautiful? You gotta see my taint. Right? He goes, you're taint. I'm fucking already laughing. Like when we're texting and we're doing it. He goes, you're taint. He goes, I got an Andy Warhol a picture of your taint on my mantelpiece, but my mother's trying to buy it, but I refuse to sell. But I was going to say Chris D'Elia, and I said this.
No, it's Sebastian. We're talking about Sebastian.
Oh yeah.
No, because I'm saying that's who he is as a person.
Oh yeah. So we're sitting up there on the stage, and I had a drink. I said, Sebastian, don't you drink? He goes, yeah, Dom, but it's Tuesday. Right? Like, and sometimes I do drink every night. And I know it's, obviously, I know it's bad for you. But just the way he said it, it's Tuesday. I can't fucking give it. Can you give it till Saturday?
I can't even wait. Nah, he's the guy that me and him, like if I'd say it was my closest friend, that would be him. Him and, remember Luca Palanca?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't seen Luke in a long time.
Oh, Luca's in Pennsylvania now.
Right. Tammy, married Tammy.
But the comedy now, I'm saying, I think is the best it's ever been across the board.
I do
Comparable
too.
to the 70s. And
Yeah.
not to disrespect a lot of, of course, the 80s.
No, but they were the pioneers of that new style, because it used to be, can you imagine this? Before them, guys say, I'm going up to the Catskills this weekend. Are you doing your act anywhere? You go, no. Can I borrow it?
I know. It's crazy, right?
Imagine somebody, that's like taking your soul. I'm going to take a piece of your soul this week.
But dealing with a lot of, like, because I had to open for a lot of the guys in your generation. You know what I mean?
Like
that
who?
were coming up. I'm not throwing anybody. I'll tell you off the air. But
Well,
a lot of
no.
them would give you rules. Don't curse. Don't do this. Don't you crowd work. And it's like, that's why I loved growing. And, I mean, don't get me wrong. I love the factory, but I really grew at the store. And you had to follow whatever the fuck you had to follow. You had to follow you giving us a shitty intro or there's no, whatever the person did has nothing to do with what I'm doing. And through that growth, through that experiences in the OR at like 1 a.m. in front of 4 people.
I know.
You know what I mean? That's how you get strong and get good.
I came in here and started with the Improv, and then I passed Mitzi later, but at the Improv I was already connected to the New York Club. And the first Saturday night I was with Leno and Robin Williams. I was like, fuck. But the thing is, I acknowledged it. I said, that's what you wanted, me after those 2 guys.
Yeah.
So
It's
you
something
got
like following when people are like, we're going to bring up your headliner. And I'm like, I'm last. It's not a headliner. The headliner, the guy that sold out the arena that was 40 minutes before I went up.
Well, the arena thing's a new thing too. That was, I mean, although it started with Steve Martin, that really petered off for a long time. Now it's come back.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's guys that are just big enough to do it. I mean, Sebastian's almost, I don't know, he's selling out theaters. I heard that Russell Peters did, well, I know I was talking to Jim Jeffries and he was talking about, I think he was going to go do Wembley Stadium or something.
Oh, really?
But he was telling me how Russell Peters was doing crowd work.
Yeah.
With a Jumbotron.
Yeah.
Which is fucking brilliant.
Yeah. Well, you know what it is? He can't write fast enough because of the gigs he's offered.
Yeah.
So he gets friends to come with him, I mean, he literally can't. Nobody can. With the
But
amount,
you know, when I did his Showtime series, I don't know, man. Russell's, I think his strength is his quick wittedness.
yeah, absolutely.
Because he did every show. Because you know they tape like 3 episodes, so there's like 3 or 4 shows in a row, and Russell had to do 4 different sets.
Yeah, he called me up for a gig in Vegas, and he says, "You going last?" And he offered me some money. I said, "Russell," and I thought it was coming out of his pocket. I go, "Russell, that's too much money." You know, you only say this to a friend. You don't say this to a club owner, well, unless they're a friend too. But he goes, "No, it's fine." I said, "You know," and what I didn't know, I thought I was just I wasn't headlining. He was headlining, but he wasn't closing the show. So I go on last, and I think he's going to come on and do a set, but that was it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I did 25 minutes, which is so fucking easy after doing these 45-hour shows. But it was smart because everybody enjoyed it. They got to see him, and they got to see strong material, which, you know, because he works so much and is so fucking popular, it comes out. It's tougher for him.
Yeah, and you know the other thing about Russell is a lot of people don't know, or maybe they do, how fucking generous he is.
Unbelievable.
He literally, I seen him give the jacket off his back to another kid.
Yeah.
They said he loved that jacket, and Russell goes, "What size are you?" And the kid told him it was the smallest size. It was a $1,500 jacket, and he said, "All right." He said, and he ordered him one and sent him one.
Last year, not this past year, last year, I was in Tampa. You know Bobby Jewell?
Yeah, of course. Side splitters.
Yeah, I was working with Bobby Jewell, and we have a tradition of watching the NFC AFC championship games on that Sunday. So I do Friday and Saturday, then I stay for the Sunday. So Russell finds out I'm in town. He calls. I didn't know he was in town. He calls up and he says, "You want to ride back to LA? I got a private jet." I said, "I'd like to." I said, "What time are you going?" He says, "About 8." I says, "No, I can't. I'm watching football." He goes, "You watching football? I got a private jet." I said, "Russell, I appreciate it, but you know, I made a commitment. I want to see this." He waits for me. Right? He waits for me till the football's over, and he gives me a bottle of wine on the thing. Who fucking does that?
Dude, he's the best. Nah, he's good, man. Anyways, but yeah, I forgot where the conversation was going.
Well, we were talking about the transition of comedy and the changes. And
Yeah, like I remember talking to some of the 80s comics would tell you that they would always say weird shit to me, like a word. You know what word you should use? It sounds funnier, or you know, the rule of threes. And I remember a guy telling me I shouldn't use segues. And I'm like, I don't understand any of that, you know? And then, I don't know, it just seems that the comedy today is a little bit more open and honest.
Well, yeah, this guy said to me, you would know him, and I don't want to say him on the air, but he you know, jealous and bitter old guy, you know? And D'Elia's on stage, and he goes, "You know, Dom," he thought I was going to side with him. He goes, "You know, Dom, I don't get it. You know, there's no jokes there. As if isn't it about entertaining? Is it about like the structure of a joke? Well, that was very funny, but I didn't like the structure of that joke. You know, it's like," and he goes, "I don't get it." I go, "You know what's interesting? Listen to the crowd. They really get it. Mm-hmm. That's what you should listen to, not whether you're judging it."
Well, Pryor wasn't a joke structure guy. That's what I meant. Like it almost went from the Lenny Bruces to Pryor to that real to Woody Allen's a genius. You know who else was really funny? It was Andy Griffith.
Andy Griffith?
Yeah.
The TV show?
Yeah. You never heard his stand-up, his storytelling?
Get out.
I swear to God.
No, because I used to love that show.
It's in a format where it's all wholesome, but the way he tells the story is brilliant, man. And the other thing I was watching the other day.
Was he Matlock too?
Yeah.
That's funny.
Is the roast, because when Don Rickles died, you know, all the roasts started coming up. But when who's the guy that pretends he's drunk all the time?
Foster Brooks. See, we're getting sharper. Foster Brooks
roasted Don Rickles, but he did it as the guy who was sleeping with his wife. Uh-huh. You know, because I don't really know you, but we have a mutual friend. I've been sleeping with your wife, and it's just so brilliant. Now that era too was really great. Yeah, those '50s guys, man.
Yeah, Rickles and
they had so much. That's the other thing I think is lacking is the charisma.
Buddy Hackett was.
Dude, Buddy Hackett's great. I used to listen to him like Joe. There was a guy. You ever heard of a guy named Joe Frisco?
No.
You know my friend Mark Weingarten. He's a comic.
Sounds
He
familiar.
used to own the Ice House with Jan and Bob
really?
back in the day.
Huh.
But we were writing a script years ago together, and there was a comedian, I guess, named Joe Frisco, and it was like of Joey Bishop's era, and apparently he was like Bob Hope and George Burns, like he was their favorite comedian.
Really?
And I think he was like a heroin addict and like a fucking junkie and a degenerate, but he was like the comic back then.
Right.
And a lot of guys tried to help him, but we heard a story where, and again, I'm paraphrasing all of this, but that Bob Hope was like, look, I'm going to help you. I'm going to get you on one of the war film. He was doing a war film and he had him a role and he goes, oh, thank you. He goes, do you mind if I get paid up front? Half the money. So Bob Hope got him half the money, and the day of the shot, he never shows up.
Oh, jeez.
And he's down at the fucking track. But they said he was like a comic, like he was supposedly before Lenny Bruce type.
Well, did you ever hear of Uncle Dirty?
I've heard of him.
Because he's a guy also that was up there with in the same period of Carlin and Pryor and even Gary Muldeer and a couple of those guys that weren't as big. But Dirty,
I know Gary Muldeer is, believe it or not.
Dirty kind of fucked up his career in the sense that he was like kind of a rebel and a hippie, whatever, in those days. And he was on the Tonight Show, and Billy Graham was on, and he said, "So did God buy?" And this is how long ago it was, when $500 was a lot for a suit. He goes, "God buy you that $500 suit?" And that was it. They exiled him from TV for years.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and
that's the other good thing about doing comedy today, though, is we don't have to put up with the shit you guys did back. There's no more real gatekeepers. You could just go. You could go viral and put your shit on YouTube.
But by the time I got on television, I didn't have any restrictions.
Yeah,
because I had the Dangerfield special. Then I did about two of my own specials. Then I did a show which you would have fucking have fun. Not that you're dirty, but you can go either way. It was called Full Frontal Comedy, and it was it was good. I mean, we won
I remember that.
We won Ace Awards and stuff. And
what was that on? Comedy, not comedy,
Showtime.
Showtime. I remember Full Frontal Comedy.
And,
was that your show?
Yeah, I was host of that show, and I had to beg to get Mitch Hedberg on.
Really?
I had to beg to get Rogan on. Rogan wasn't the act he is now, but he was still good. But we had, then there were guys like Drew Carey and Ray Romano before they hit it, but they were clean. And they go, well, I don't really say pussy. I had a couple of black friends of mine say that too. Dom, I don't say pussy. I said, don't say pussy. The whole theme of the show was, do what the fuck you could do in a club. Don't worry about TV censors. There are none here. You know what I mean? Which made it fun. Just do whatever you really would do, not your phony Tonight Show set.
That's what blew up the comics in the 80s was the Dangerfield special.
Yeah.
Because, excuse me, nobody's ever really seen that. That open, that raw. I remember being a little kid watching that shit. And then, and if you notice, all the black comics blew up in the 90s because HBO allowed them on Def Jam.
Yeah.
Just to be raw and honest. That's the best comedy, man. Clean comedy, like Brian Regan's amazing.
Yeah.
You know what
Sebastian's clean, right?
Yeah. Well, fairly clean, but I wouldn't mark him as clean, but yeah, I don't even think Brian Regan curses, correct?
He doesn't know.
Yeah. So, I'm saying he's like the ultimate. He's arguably one of the best comedians ever.
He's great. He used to be the MC at the comic strip in Fort Lauderdale. And I'll never forget his couple of his bits because they always.
I remember that off 17th Street Causeway, comic strip. Well, you went down Sunrise Boulevard and you made a left.
Yeah,
on
Sunrise
the right
between Sunrise and Oakland Park.
Yeah.
But he had one job. He goes, Gary Franrath Chevrolet, I love you more than anybody. He goes, even my mom. Like if I went to jail, I would call Gary Franrath Chevrolet. And the other one was about the way dogs bark at each other. That imagine people doing that. Hey. Just you remember that stupid bit?
I never heard that.
So
but I have
funny.
A joke like that, which now I can't do.
You could certainly do it if you never heard it.
I never heard it.
No,
never heard it. I always argue. I always talk about.
I think that's
my
where
dog's a dick.
That's where we get too strict because there's only so many things in the world, and if you never heard it, it's
but if it's a popular joke, I want to know.
Not that. It's probably been dead for 15 years. So.
Mm-hmm.
What were you gonna say about your pop or something?
No, my dog. My dog's a dick. Like,
Oh,
she's
oh.
always barking at people, and I always, because everybody always talks about being animal lovers. I met this lady that all she kept saying is like, I mean, it's just, you know how stuff comes out of real life.
Yeah.
So it just kept going on and on. How like she wishes everybody were animals. She can't stand people, animal.
Oh,
And I'm like,
God.
well, maybe it's you. You know, maybe you're the fucking problem. You know, you can only get along with things that don't talk back to you.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? Maybe you're the toxic person, and it just went on, and then I was making the argument to my wife about, you know, every time we walk, our dogs they're always yelling at each other. They're not nice
Yeah.
people.
Hey. No, you shouldn't. You shouldn't even think for a second about that because you didn't steal it.
No, I'm not. I don't really watch a lot of stand up, man. Other than
I don't do that because of that.
I'm just not into it. I mean, I watch people when I'm working, but I don't go out and watch new specials or any of that shit.
No,
I've
man.
not seen Chappelle's specials.
Well, I can't watch an hour of anybody.
No,
Nobody.
not even myself.
No, fuck.
I was
hate it.
editing my special. I can't fucking. I think it sucks. I hate it. I'm like, I can't watch this. This is nauseating.
Me too. I got one. We're going to try and sell now that. You know, I said Harry Basil did it. You know, Harry. You know who he is, right?
Yeah, of course.
He's also a director.
He wrote all of Dangerfield's movies, right?
Yeah,
Did
he
do
wrote
like
about-
Back to School and
a
all
few-
that.
I don't know if he did Back to School, but he did a few of the later ones, Ladybug and all that. But I said, Harry, you got to tell me if you think it's good. You got to be honest with me because I hate my fucking work. I can't stand. I like to strangle myself.
And I don't know. I don't know how people watch that. I don't understand how people get off stage and be like, I fucking killed. It's
Oh
like,
man. I never said that, and even some of my friends who really have done that and said it, it made me cringe. Like I crushed, man. Tonight I crushed that fucking crowd. They're gonna.
You could always, there's ways to get around it where you can be like, the crowd was really good tonight. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or, I don't know.
I just roll with it because I know that especially since working the store and Laugh Factory so much together, I'm thinking, I come over here and all of a sudden, 15 minutes ago, this was funny and now it's not getting a laugh, or you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, I never take it that seriously.
Yeah, me neither. Maybe it's just I don't know. You think it's the way because we're from kind of the same area,
Yeah.
same backgrounds.
Well, it's almost like the Groucho Marx thing. I wouldn't want to be a member of any club that would have me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I always say that to my wife, that one of the things she found me funny, but she don't find all my jokes funny. And I'm like, that means she's a normal person.
Where'd you meet her?
In Chicago.
Doing a gig?
No, I actually met her at a restaurant in the beginning. She was working there.
Oh, wow.
And then, yeah.
So she was captive. She had to talk to you.
Well, yeah, pretty much. I was, I was more in awe of her,
That's cool.
Were you ever married, or you just
Yeah, I was married.
a long time ago, though, right? Well, you just had long-term
We
girlfriends.
got divorced in 1990, I think.
How long were you married for?
5 years, but with her for 10. Then I was with this other girl for a while, and then Sophie.
Yeah, I remember you were with Sophie. That's really when I met you.
Oh, she was cute.
Yeah, there was like a big age difference, though, wasn't there?
Is that really your concern?
Well, I got one with my wife.
Is that really your business?
Yeah, 15 years.
Well, I'm proud of you then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was trying to bond with something here, Dom. You have to get
How
all
dare you come into my podcast?
That you're coming to my room, my house,
How dare you come here
where,
on
where
time?
my wife sleeps and my children play with their toys.
Where's that from? The
It's
Godfather?
Godfather too. In my house. Remember we screamed? I don't understand, Michael. I said we hit the Rosado brothers while we got the muscle. You think all Italians? Well, I can. All Godfathers, Goodfellas. I love those movies. Do they bother you a little? Or do you like them?
No, it doesn't bother me.
Some Italians it bothers.
Yeah, I know. Hey, I did a thing once. I lost a lot of money on this. Did a thing called Tony's Pizza, and it was a wild spot. We shot it in Minneapolis, and it was all over. Like it would be like in Phoenix or Columbus, but it wasn't the national. But I had a campaign going. Some fucking nut when his son call up and complain about it. They're from the Arizona
Italian Defamation League?
Italian Historical Society, right? So they dropped the ads, and then you know what they found out? The guys made it up. They didn't even fucking take the time to check. They were so worried about lawsuits
Isn't that
And all I
amazing?
was doing was, hey, Joey Bag of Donuts, Jimmy the Woman, forget about it. You know,
Yeah.
I was doing that shit. It wasn't fucking. I grew up with those guys. It wasn't like, harmful. Then all comedy's harmful.
Mm-hmm.
But I got to tell you a funny stereotype when you came up here, because I was really dependent on you today to be here on time.
Mm-hmm.
You know, last week I had this black woman here. I mean, she never made it. She was 35 minutes late, and I left. Now, Alonzo, Sully McCullough, I'm not saying all blacks are late, but boy, you really learn like that there are certain patterns with races or cultures, and and I told them from now on, whenever I book an act who's black, I'm going to lie to them about the time. Be there 3:15, and really want them there 3:45. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that funny though? Because like,
It is.
anyway, like
Well,
everybody,
the brothers themselves call it black people time.
yeah. I mean, it's funny how certain. What really made me think of it, Brett, is the idea that Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah.
McCaffrey, is that his name?
Yeah, the kid from Stanford.
Yeah, he's a running back, a white running back.
Yeah, amazing.
Do you know how rare that is at that level? I mean, it's like Danny Woodhead, a couple of those guys came out of. They were in Division III.
Yeah.
This is a Division I pick. He's going to be in the top 10 picks.
And nominated for the Heisman.
Yeah, and he's going to be top 10 picks as a running back. I could even see if it was a slot receiver, but
Well, there hasn't been a good white running back in the NFL really since John Riggins.
John Riggins. That's it, and he was half Indian,
Mm-hmm.
so that doesn't count.
Well, no, I mean, listen, there's something to be said there. You know what I mean?
It just says that the black guys are better. Like it's
But see, I think a lot of it too, like me and my brother were talking about this, there's a lot of racism involved as well. I wouldn't say reverse discrimination because it depends on how you look at it,
Yeah.
Where some coaches automatically assume a white guy's not going to be as good.
Just like they used to assume that black guys couldn't play quarterback.
Yeah.
The
greatest, I think the best black quarterback all time, Warren Moon.
Absolutely. Hands down.
Right?
Yeah.
You know who would have been, I think, Charlie Ward. But he was smart. He chose to play basketball.
I think Benny Briscoe.
From the Steelers?
No, the Dolphins. I think he was a quarterback and ended up playing defense.
Didn't you have the first black? Wasn't Reggie Roby like the first black punter?
I don't know. I think he's the only black punter I remember.
Yeah. Well, no, there's one now for the Raiders.
Oh, is he?
Um,
Isn't it funny how you got to be careful when you talk race? Like everybody's so fucking sensitive.
I think it, like you said, those two people that come out of the woodwork. I think that more people just don't give a fuck. You can't cater to it. You just stand up to it.
That's what I love about Barkley. Barkley admits that he gets away with stuff that white guys would be fired for.
Yeah, but I mean, we don't have any place to be fired from.
No, I'm talking about on the air.
Yeah, oh yeah, of course.
Like Jimmy the Greek and guys like that. And
there is a standard, and then it's a bullshit reason why. I'm if you're really, I mean, for me, it's like what did Jim Norton said? It's either all or nothing. It's either all okay or it's none of it's okay.
Yeah.
We can't pick and choose what we find isn't fun. Like, actually, to say that black people don't show up on time is hacky.
Yeah.
That's how much the joke has been out there. But if you were to bring that to attention, I personally think it's based on where's the joke coming from. If somebody's a mean person and they make a comment, then they have intentions to do harm. But if you're shining light on a situation or something that a pattern that you've recognized,
I haven't even done it as a joke. I'm just talking about me and the producer are sitting here waiting for the act to come. Mm-hmm. I mean, Donnell Rawlings, I love the guy, but he and he was honest about it. He goes, he missed one of my podcasts. You know what happened? He forgot. He said, "Oh fuck, shit, Dom, I forgot." He said, "What do you say to that?" Oh, he goes, "Can I do it again?" I go, "No." Then finally I did, I mean, Godfrey was late, like 25 minutes, and he started begging me. I can't fucking be mad at that fucking nut.
Nah, he's great, that kid. Now, Godfrey, in my opinion, is one of the most talented comedians out there, all the way around.
Wait, is he not getting his due or what? I don't.
There's a few people that you could say that about. That you look around and you're like, what a shame, but.
Oh,
everything comes out in the wash. Like Burr said, I was at Sebastian's the other night, a few weeks back, and he was having the baby shower, and Burr was talking to me, and he's like, it's so funny. He goes, but if you're doing it right, it's going to take a long. It takes long when you're doing it right.
Yeah.
But once you get it, like take a guy like Joe. Joe is Joe. There's nothing he could say or do that would make him lose money or fans or it's built in. You know who he is. He's honest. It's the ones that are that aren't. How do I explain it? Not seasoned, but
Yeah, I've had naming some names.
no, I don't do that.
You don't have to do that.
I don't do that. But there are comics out there that you could tell maybe pop too early. We were figuring out an equation. I think it's when your talent level doesn't meet your fame. That's when there's always going to be a problem.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Well, sure.
Because you can only fool Oz for so long.
I mean, the biggest sham right now is YouTube people who can fill up a comedy club.
That'll only last for a little while.
It only lasts for a little while. It's like, remember the last comic standing?
Yeah.
And I'm not knocking them. Some of them are my friends, but they were selling out clubs like.
Well, there
crazy.
was some that actually had some time in, like Alonzo and Tammy, and then there were some that only had 20 minutes.
Right. I worked with that guy, Dat Fan.
Yeah.
Really nice kid.
Nicest kid on the
He
planet.
said to me.
He was thrown to the wolves, that kid.
He said to me, he goes, thanks so much for doing this. He goes, because I only got 25 minutes. I go out there and I drew in San Francisco, but not like this kid. I mean, when am I going to have 20 Asian teenage girls come and see me?
Right.
But,
Oh, look, the name of the game is selling tickets. And regardless of how good you are, I mean, I wish it was a meritocracy, but it's not.
No.
And it's a draw, and it just takes longer if you're really putting the time in, and but eventually there's no excuses for anybody, especially in today's day and age. Like, when they put that list out of the 100 comics and all that shit, and they had me at 16. And then I was doing this interview, and they're like, how come you're not here or there? And they were like, you think it has anything to do with, how white guys aren't popular? And I'm
wait,
like,
the 100 or the 50?
No, it was 100. The top one, Heckler.com, that TBS list.
Oh, okay. They put you at 16?
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah. And I said, I think it has more to do with the fact that I don't know how to use the internet. I'm not, it has nothing to do with me being a white guy.
That means a lot, the internet.
But I'm saying, like, there's so much. Everybody can take a scapegoat at being average if they choose to. You could say, "Oh, I'm old," or "Oh, that didn't stop Dangerfield," or I'm a female. There's shitload of females that get blown up just because they're female.
Yeah.
Or I'm a white guy. It's so hard. Well, maybe so, but at the same time, you get other opportunities. Like anybody could take an out anywhere. You could find an out anywhere. But the reality is I don't know how to use the fucking internet. Nobody's not. If somebody's watching my stand-up and they're going to go, that guy's funny, but he's a white guy, so he's not funny, so I'm not going to go see it. Nobody gives a fuck. It's just getting the product out there and figuring out a way to get it out there.
Yeah, I mean, Joe is a genius at using the internet.
Yeah.
But he's still so fucking strong. Once he got his chance, now he's,
Well, it's a guy like Burr. If Burr didn't have the podcast, I don't know if anybody... Because if you would ask me 7 years ago who I thought the best comic was, I mean, I would have said Bill Burr.
7 years ago, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I remember when I was shooting my half hour for Comedy Central, he was we were talking on the phone, and he was just talking about how frustrating it was for him at the time, because he was...
Was he still Billy Burr?
No, he was just regular Bill still. He was Bill by then. But then, I think the Monday morning his podcast is really when he got his voice out there and people got to hear him.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing.
Yeah, and then when they see the body of work, they're like, holy shit.
Were you ever on that one?
Which, Burr's?
Yeah.
No.
I did it one time with him. It was so fucking funny. We're at his house. It was Easter. We're talking. We get downstairs. We talk for over an hour. And then we still kept talking after the show. Man, can we fucking talk? And he did one thing which, excuse me, like a real mensch thing. He has a bulldog. And instead of telling me to relax around the bulldog, he puts her away.
Mm-hmm.
I said, he said, do dogs like that bother you? I said, absolutely. He goes, I won't bring her out. I thought, well, fucking thank you for not putting me in that
Yeah,
situation.
the owners sometimes make you feel fucking uncomfortable.
Yeah, what are you kidding?
Yeah, just stay still.
The
let her
dog-
sniff you. Then they're sniffing
Don't
around,
move.
and you're like, I'm gonna fucking punch it in the jaw. It's,
Don't move your cornea.
Yeah.
He hates when you move your cornea. Look straight ahead.
but that opportunity for everybody's just get if there's a way somebody can get to see your product, you know, because the way I think of it is there's what 350 million people in America. If you just get 1% of that, you're fucking you're gold. That's all you need.
Gold, Jerry. I tell you, it's gold.
That's what it is. But who knows, man? I mean, I like where I think this is the best the business has ever been, and this is the best time to be a comedian.
Well, I love the fact that the guy like Louis C.K. did that thing with the independents.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, talk about taking the power away from the suits, because podcasts have really taken. What time is it?
Oh, it's 2:08.
Oh,
Wait, I'm sorry.
no, that's all right. I know you got to go. You got to be there at 3.
Wait, hey Brett. Oza set us up for a meeting in 30 minutes. Can we put? Oh yeah, absolutely. Let me
What's
just
that?
text it. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, that's all right.
I have this conference call about doing we might be doing a theater show at the. Actually, ironically, what made me think of that when you said Independence, it's gonna be at the Independence in Asbury Park. I'm trying to do a show there August 12th, but it's one, you know, just going down and get my listeners down there and, you know, and doing my own shows.
Yeah.
I mean, to be honest with you, like I said, any artist out there, this is the best time to be one, I think.
Well, what else you got coming up? You want to plug anything before we end?
That's about it, man. I just go to, you could listen to my podcast. You're on the list, through iTunes and Stitcher. Yeah, we're doing pretty well. We just had our 100th episode, but it's actually
Oh, cool.
our 180th.
Well, when you say we?
My co-host Pete Giovine, because we started as the Bret Ernst show, and then me and Pete was always on. He became my co-host, and then we switched it because all we do is list things. Like we do stupid lists,
Like what?
like top 10 colognes of all time was one of our lists.
Oh.
Or
It's like that NFL show. Top 10 hands. Top 10.
yeah. What we do with like we've done everything from Saturday morning cartoons to top 10 Italians of all time. Everything. Sinatra's number one.
The Pope.
Dude, it's fun though, man. So yeah, I did wrestlers with Steve Simone. I had my good friend, you know, Jerry Ferrara, Turtle from Entourage, and Dominic Lombardozzi, the kid from he was on The Wire. He played Herc. Bald guy. He's been in some Boardwalk Empire. But we came down and the reason why I'm telling you that is we did the top 10 cable shows of all time, you know, and like Sopranos and that shit. And so it's just we list things. That's why
Who
it's
do you think's the top sports movie of all time?
Well, we had this discussion, by the way.
Oh,
I say Rocky, but because Rocky's more than a sports story. It's a love story as well. People don't realize that it's actually a love story disguised as a sports story.
it's really, you know, I'm sorry you said that, because now it puts a fucking monkey wrench in my thought.
What was yours? Field of Dreams?
Raging Bull.
Raging Bull's great too.
But, you know, as far as cinematography, as far as acting goes, but Rocky had so much heart.
Yeah.
You
Rocky. Yeah, because
Dun, 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 dun.
you know what's great about it is, you know, the movie starts off, it's a guy, he's in his 30s, never been tested, and he's just going through, there's so many great nuances in that movie. And, you know, it's about what's he going to do.
This is Rocky?
Yeah.
You know, he came up to me at they had an opening. Bruce Willis, a friend of mine, they had an opening for one of those Planet Hollywoods in Montreal. And Stallone comes up to me. He goes, hey, Dom, I met you, Paul Reiser's thing. I'm Sly. And he's telling me I'm Sly. I'm like, I don't fucking know. And all I could hear was the theme to Rocky. And then he was not only Rocky, but he was fucking Rambo too. How did you do that?
Yeah, he created all that.
Yeah, brilliant.
He is underrated. But when you look at the levels of Rocky, so now it's a guy who doesn't know what he wants to do with his life, and he falls in love with this girl that nobody else falls in love with at a pet shop. Then next thing you know, you're in a love story. So it goes from a drama to a love story to now you're in a fucking sports movie. And at the end of the movie, he doesn't give a shit about winning or losing. All he cares about is Adrian, like the girl. It is. It's got so much.
He was in a Woody Allen movie. Did you ever see him in that?
Which one?
I think it was
Oscar?
No. It was a Woody Allen movie. Oh God, that was terrible, Oscar.
Stop or my mom will shoot.
He was in one where
Rhinestone?
He didn't have any lines. I think it was Bananas. But Woody Allen's on a subway, and these two guys grabbed this woman and something physical happened on the subway, and Stallone was one of them. Didn't have.
Oh, really? I didn't know that. I know he was in the Lords of Flatbush, and then Paradise Alley was a good one he was in. Did you do any? Did you work with Woody Allen?
No, but I just wanted to plug. I'm in a show called I'm Dying Up Here. That I did a recurring role, and that's June,
on Showtime, right?
June 4th at 8:00, I believe, on Showtime. I know that I got a couple jokes in there. Remember that lounge comedian I used to do? Ooh, ow.
Yeah.
He's in it, and I'm at the Black Box in Fort Lauderdale and in Kilkenny, Ireland. Which if you happen to be in Galway or
how many times have you done Ireland?
I've done it more than any other American. So whatever that is, I don't know, 23.
I would love to go out there, man.
Can't get Americans anymore. They won't pay for they do it for me because You've
been there forever.
Yeah, they call me the Godfather of Kilkenny. That funny? Me fucking Guido head from Philly.
Little do they know, fucking in the 40s, they would have been breaking your head in.
Bret Ernst, please go see him wherever he is. What's your podcast?
It's called You're on the List, and you can check me out. You can subscribe to all that shit, Twitter, all of it on Bret Ernst, BretErnst.com.
Thank you, brother.
You got it, man. Appreciate you, Dom.
Appreciate it. Oh, sorry about the wire in the hand.
Don't worry about it.
Don't you worry.
Something